Hello, everyone. Welcome to my second episode of my podcast, Love and Lore. In the first one, I introduced myself a bit and I said that I would have a special guest in the second episode, and we are here with her today. Yes, so
Hello.
this is my cousin, Luisa David, and she is my older cousin. She's from Surrey, so we don't see each other that much.
We don't.
We
And we're
don't.
also second cousins,
Second cousin,
if that
so
makes a
yeah.
difference, but not really.
We only see each other like during parties, like twice
Yeah.
a year.
Oh, fun
But
fact, your mom is my godmother.
oh, period. There we
There's that
go.
too.
Fun fact. I didn't really know that either.
You didn't know
So
that?
I maybe heard it like once or twice, but that's pretty cool.
Hi, Ninang Eunice, if you are listening.
Shout out. But yeah, I'm so excited to have her on here. And before I say anything else, I just want to tell you guys that like my ate, she has been such a role model for me. I don't think you even know this,
Oh.
but like ever since I was a little girl, like I always looked up to her. Even though we'd never see each other, I just always see her hustle and her grind and how hard she works. And I don't know, I just feel so like starstruck whenever I see her like in parties and stuff. And you guys get to learn a lot more about why I feel this way in a bit because she is crazy. Like yeah, it's like I'm honored to have her here. So just thank you for being here on a Monday morning
Of
after
course.
finals and all that stuff. And yeah, I guess we'll get you to introduce yourself and talk about what you study and just a bit about yourself. So go ahead.
Well, hello. My name is Luisa David. I am currently in my fourth year of a political science major and an economics and legal studies minor here at SFU. Um, I am quite active in student politics or student leadership. I've worked for the Pre-Law Society, Amnesty International at SFU's chapter, and I've been multiple executives for the Political Science Student Union here at SFU as well. I'm also part of the FAST Cooperative Education Program, and in the next week and a half, I will be in Europe for NATO Field School. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm also proud to say I'm a first generation Filipino student as well. And yeah.
So there you go, guys. That is exactly why I look up to her so much. Like she is insane. And yeah, in this episode, I'm just gonna be talking to her about like how she manages so much and just her grind and her hustle and why she chose her field of study. And she did mention her NATO study abroad. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. But yeah, you were born in the Philippines, is that correct?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you can talk about like your childhood and kind of what influenced you to get into this field of study and even like family influence and just like how you got this passion in you.
So my desire to study poli-sci is actually very family oriented. I was born in the Philippines, Lubao specifically, shout out Pampanga. And my dad, not a lot of people know this because he's a lot older than the rest of his siblings and cousins, but he was actually a political activist in the Philippines in his early 20s during the first Marcos era. And I remember growing up as a kid, I was always interested in like politics and stuff. One thing that my dad told me when I was younger, I was really interested in like why people have the power that they do and why people use their power the way that they do. And apparently, I was always a kid that wanted to know the reason between, or the reason I always wanted to know why things were right and why things were wrong. So that's kind of what inspired me to pursue poli-sci. A lot of my inspiration to pursue poli-sci came from my dad. I am a huge daddy's girl. I love my dad. He's my role model. Um, and pursuing poli-sci, or maybe this was like the overarching reason why I decided to pursue poli-sci and hopefully law in the future, is because poli-sci was my dad's dream that he never got to pursue because studying arts and science, or the social sciences and the arts, was looked down on, especially in the Philippines. It's STEM or nothing. So when my dad was in his early 20s, he decided to pursue civil engineering and work as an engineer and just put his passion for politics and advocacy on the back burner. So yeah, I think my journey towards a career in poli sci is a tribute to my father and all his sacrifices.
Were there like any other family members that were into politics, or was it just solely your dad?
I think the only person who was very vocal about politics in my family that I can remember is my dad. I know that my Lolo Reding, also has his passions here and there for politics, but they're not as um, expressed as my dad. So yeah, when it comes to people in my family who is like very into politics, I would just say my dad, honestly.
So when did you move to Canada, I should ask first of all?
Like when I was one.
Okay, so like a baby, literally.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
born and I was like not well enough to come back to Canada. I think I was like born just like ill, not in the best shape. So I stayed back home in the Philippines with my mom's side of the family for a year. And then after I turned a year old, my parents came back from Canada because they were living in Canada at that point before I was born, and brought me home, repatriated
Yes.
me.
And then I guess during your elementary years and your early education, were you still interested like in politics, I guess, or it was like in the back of your mind and you kind of knew growing up that I wanted to pursue like politics?
It was always in the back of my mind in elementary school and high school. But I think I kind of leered away from it only because of the ongoing stigma in my mind of like how studying social sciences and arts was inferior to, say, the applied
That is so
sciences.
valid. Yeah.
So for a moment, I wanted to be a doctor. And it's funny that you asked that now because Marlon, so my youngest sister, she just got back her, like, when you write letters to yourself in grade A
Oh
and
my
then
God.
open them in grade
Yes.
12? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she just read hers again because she's in her senior year of high school. And in her letter, she was asking about her siblings and everything. And when she asked about me, she was like, "Oh, is Atilen, aka me, in med school?"
Oh my
Because
gosh.
when she was in grade 8, I wanted to be a doctor.
Mhm.
But honestly, like I would be the worst doctor ever. I only say this because like just the thought of like just hearing diseases and illnesses like makes me like squirm,
Yeah. Oh
or
yeah.
like the thought of blood like makes me go like,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
I could never be a doctor, could never be a nurse. Shout out to like
Oh
our
yeah.
healthcare workers
I know
because
Filipinos are big on their healthcare.
exactly.
Shout out. So you were going to do med school,
Hmm.
and I guess you kind of just fought the stigma and stuck to your ultimate dream.
Yeah, not a lot of people know this, but in grade 12, I was like all of my courses were oriented towards my application to do either like bio or like chem or even kin. I didn't even think about like applying for the arts until maybe like a week before
Oh
applications were
God.
due.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember I was going through the roughest time ever in grade 12 because I was honestly going through an identity crisis because one, I did not want to do sciences. It was not my dream. I always wanted to be a lawyer, but like the stigma was just so prominent in my mind where like
Mhm.
I was like willing to do the same thing that my dad did,
Oh wow.
like suck it up and do the sciences because you don't want to deal with the stigma or you don't want to feel like you're inferior to anyone else. But I remember I had a talk with my dad about pursuing my dreams or whatever, and he ultimately told me that the career that you choose, it may not be the career that you have for the rest of your life, but that is the field that you're going to be working in. And then he also told me, do you really want to spend like the next 4 or 5 years of your life doing something that you're unhappy about and not do well and not flourish in your
Mhm.
field because you're unhappy all the time?
Yeah.
And I think he spoke from a place of experience because he also went through that same thing.
Mhm.
And I believe, and I think my father also believes, you should make each coming generation better than the last one. So I think that was him helping me to not do the same thing that he did and pursue my passion. So in grade 12, I went to my counselor and I fully shout out Miss Batante
Oh.
and Madame Aguiar from Holy Cross, actually, because they really helped me out with this.
Holy Cross alumni right here, guys.
And I switched all my courses from like AP Physics, AP Calculus to Law and History so I could orient my application towards the social sciences. And yeah,
Was this switch during the beginning of the year or like mid-year before grad, like right before grad or
the switch was in the middle of my first semester. So at Holy Cross, it was like Sem 1, Sem 2. And
right?
then we were planning our second sem. And in the middle of Sem 1, I was like, I do not want to do sciences
Yeah.
anymore. I don't want to do calculus. I don't want to do all these things. Um, I want to do poli-sci.
Mhm.
And I was so stuck on that where I like reached out to my GLA, which stands for grade level advisor, and my counselor and was like, please get me out of the sciences. Please, this is not my dream or
Mhm.
what I want to do. So, yeah, I was like very lucky that I had such a great support system at my high school. And yeah, I'm
Mhm.
forever indebted to them.
That is so cool. And I think, yeah, when it comes to making a career choice, it's not just about like, oh, it makes me rich or like it makes me well respected, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's also like, am I good at it? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're good at it, then it's going to impact the future, impact society better,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're not good, but it makes you money, it's like, then what's the point, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to be a great doctor, so don't risk it. It's like also a lot of money and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time.
And I
Um,
think and one thing that was also really important to me was my impact on the community.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
think I'm a people's person. I love community. I love making things a lot better than when I first entered or experienced it. So I also thought about that. I could not be a great doctor. I could not be a great like engineer. If I were to build a bridge
Right.
respectfully, that bridge wouldn't fall down. Like London Bridge 2.0. But like I know that I am compassionate. I like helping people and I like getting to what's right and what's just. So yeah, I think that's also why I wanted to do poli sci. I just knew that like I could not bring justice to any science job
Mm.
ever.
I think you'd be a great like what politician you're trying to do, or a lawyer, or
Hopefully, just lawyer for now.
yes.
Politician is a little, especially with the political environment that we're in
Oh
right now
right,
here in Canada, it is a little daunting of a career path to consider, but definitely a lawyer.
that is
Yeah.
awesome. Honestly, I see you as a lawyer, 100%. You'd be
Do you?
such an amazing lawyer.
Oh, thank
Like you just
you.
like the energy, the vibes, like the girl boss vibes, like the hard work. I
Oh,
really, really, really see it. Like if you guys see her in person or just like see her social media and see her presence on campus, it's amazing. It's incredible.
thank
Just
you.
like the way she talks as well, and the way yeah, you really are a people person. I think you'd thrive in this field for sure. If you're gonna go to law school, are you going to law school? That's the plan.
I really, really do hope that I go to law school.
Yeah.
My plans aren't like set in stone yet, and I don't have a great like plan right now, but I'm just in the moment trying to do the best at what I'm doing right now, and
Mhm.
everything will fall in place hopefully. Like of course I'm like planning like roughly when I'm going to take the LSAT and what schools I want to go to, but
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't want to be that person that thinks too much about the future and doesn't focus on what you're doing now and be present and enjoy the experiences that you fortunately have right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, none of my law school plans are super thought out or
Right.
fleshed out.
Yeah, but I love the ambition though. Like I really see it. I see the fire. I see it.
The
I
fire
love
in my eyes.
it. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for sharing your like high school journey and like your senior year stuff as well, because that's a really like stressful part. I bet for if there's high
Mm-hmm.
schoolers listening to this, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That transition. So I guess let's fast forward to uni. When you were
Mm-hmm.
choosing your schools, was SFU your first priority?
SFU was my first priority only because I did not want to move away.
Right.
I really wanted to stay at home. My biggest consideration was my younger brother, he's the youngest of our family, actually.
Mhm.
I wanted to be present when he was growing up because I didn't want him to not know who his Atilen was and everything. And honestly, like they have SFU has a great program for criminology.
Mhm. I think it's
Um,
like the biggest in Canada, is it not?
it is, I
Yeah,
think so. I don't know,
one
fact
of the
check
one of the
that.
biggest. Yeah.
But they have a great program, and I knew that I wanted to do a legal studies minor, which is a minor under predominantly like criminology courses. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to make sure I was able to pursue that. And yeah, I just think it was mostly convenience, but I'm very glad that like I went here. I actually was gonna go to Queens. I was gonna go to Queens. So I got a scholarship for there, and I also got one for UVic. But the whole like homesickness thing was like
Valid.
way too much for me, and like
Cost.
costs and
Mhm.
everything. I don't come from the most well off family as well, and my parents have multiple dependents. So, them allocating a whole lot of money for me to go to school would be very difficult. So, I
Mhm.
was considerate about that as well. I also didn't want to be deep into student loans because a degree is a degree. Prestige is important to a degree, but yeah, I was really focused on just being able to like get a degree in the first place, especially
Mhm.
as a first gen
Yeah.
child. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
first gen as well.
first
So
gen.
big
Yeah,
deal too.
it's a big deal.
Yeah, and you addressed your siblings. She is the oldest out
I
of
am.
how many siblings? That's two sisters and one little brother. So
Yeah.
oldest sister mentality. I also really admire that.
Hmm.
Setting a really good example, even for your cousins like me. Like you feel like a big sister figure to me, honestly.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
cute.
Um, so yeah, even like law school, that would be even more loans after that too. So it's a lot
Hmm.
of consideration. So ultimately, you chose SFU,
Yeah.
and you ended up coming in here first year with a minor and a major, or like just the major for like the first year.
I was just doing poli-sci for my first semester, and then in my second semester, I knew I wanted to do legal studies and fully commit to it.
Mhm.
So I started taking courses for that.
Also, it was COVID during your first year, so was it? Yeah.
It wasn't COVID where all courses were online. This was like the transition back to on campus learning. But it was like the full like mask stuff and like
Zoom.
the Zoom here and there if like anyone was sick,
Mhm.
and the social distancing policies were still heavily implemented
Mhm.
and enforced during that time.
Yeah. And for anyone who wants to kind of go the same route as you, what would you say what's the difference between doing a poli-sci major and legal studies minor?
Well, a political science major, let's just start off with the courses that you have to take. Political science major, just predominantly political science courses. When it comes to achieving a legal studies minor, it's interdisciplinary, meaning that you are able to take courses or you're meant to take courses in different disciplines. So, some courses I took in, or some courses I took for my legal studies minor were in poli sci, criminology, sociology, philosophy, and are a couple of courses in world literature as well. Oh, and also gender studies is a big one as well. So you get to broaden your knowledge and you get to diversify your like academic portfolio with like the type of courses that you take. So that's what I like about the legal studies minor because you're not just stuck to one department. People would assume it would be criminology. You get to really diversify what you learn, and I think that's very important because legality is everywhere. It's in poli sci, it's in sociology. Like the legal world impacts every discipline, I feel like.
Industry.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
healthcare, right? Like education.
Yep. And like I also took like a labor studies course that was credited towards my legal minor. So that's also interesting as well.
Mhm. So what was your niche for the legal minor?
Probably criminology, only because What I find in criminology courses is that you get to interact a lot more with like legal analysis and statute interpretation or statutory interpretation. Sorry. With poli sci, it's a lot of like theory. I don't know why Siri went off on my
Ooh, I think you said theory and then
phone.
Siri.
Yeah. With poli sci, it's a lot of like real world politics, history. Um, Theory is huge in political science. Oh my goodness.
A
But
lot of
with
reading.
a lot of readings. But when it comes to like a lot of the criminology courses, they're all about like the law itself. Like I took criminal law, I took sentencing law, philosophy of the law, sociology of the law. You get to interact with the law on a more intimate um, level with these criminology courses. So that's why I tried to garner my course load towards crim courses. But that's not to say that you're never gonna interact with like the law and other courses. I just find that in crim courses you get to do more of it. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
What was your favorite course so far in, I guess, yeah, your undergrad, like
Ever?
first, I'll say first semester, first year for the newcomers?
I would definitely recommend Paul 151, which is called Justice in Law. It's an interesting course because you can use it towards your poli-sci degree um, or a crim degree because it's one of the required courses. I think you have to pick between either 151 or Paul 100 for anyone who wants to go into crim. Or you can use it towards your legal studies minor. So it's also very interesting. You get to look at all three branches of government, that being legislative, executive, and the judiciary. But of course, you're taking a more in depth look of the judiciary itself. So that was very interesting. You get to learn about charter rights, which I think is very important for a young adult to at least be aware about as you enter adulthood and become more of a involved citizen. And if you can, take it with Claire McGovern. I absolutely adore Claire McGovern. She is an incredible prof. She is so accessible. She does love what she is teaching, and I genuinely think she loves the act of teaching as well. I just finished Paul 421W with her, which is rights, the charter, and equality, or rights, equality, and the charter. And it's an upper division writing course, and it's super duper interesting. And yeah.
That's awesome. I think you brought up a good point. Just like even if you're not in poli sci, just taking those like beginner courses, like 151, you can take it if you're like not even in poli sci, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like good for making yourself well-rounded and more educated in the system. So that's really awesome. Thanks for your insight. Okay, so let's move on to probably like moving on to second year, third year, because you're in fourth year now. What would you say?
Fourth, I did like an
Yeah.
8 month co-op and didn't take
Oh,
courses
okay.
during that time. So I think like
Mm,
credit wise, I'm fourth year.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so after first year and kind of just like the whole COVID era, did you begin to narrow down the courses? Like, did you already kind of have a pathway?
Mm-hmm. When I was in first year, sorry to go back to that a little bit, but I did a lot of different courses in a lot of different disciplines because I wasn't entirely sure if I was stuck on my legal minor. I took a lot of courses in poli sci, crim, international studies was also a big consideration for me. I also wanted to do that as a minor. I did a couple of philosophy and I did like math and econ because of the econ minor. So, yep, I did a whole lot of different disciplines. And then when I entered my second year, that's when I kind of finalized what my future credentials were going to look like. So I knew it was going to be like a poli sci major, and then econ would be incorporated in there somewhere, whether as like a joint major or a minor. And I was for sure going to have a legal studies minor. So yeah, once it hit second year, I was mainly just taking courses in poli sci, crim, any other course that could be accredited to my legal minor and econ.
Awesome, yeah. And I guess we can like shift the topic to more school life in general, balancing
Hmm.
academics, extracurriculars, because you are very involved. And yeah, I want to hear more about how you balance. Let's ask first of all, how many courses were you taking per semester?
I was taking, I've always taken four.
Mm-hmm.
I did try to be a little ambitious one time and take five. It ended up like okay, but I totally would not recommend that. I was also working two jobs
Oh
and
yeah, we
was
can get
in,
into that in a bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, four courses the average, and you were also working two jobs, and you were doing like was it restaurant, like server, hostess, something like that.
Yeah, I've always been a server ever since I turned 19 because I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was, well, it is honestly the easiest way to make some bank
Yeah.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've always done the serving ever since I turned 19.
Yeah. And how was that like having to balance school and work? Because you worked a lot of days a week, I think, as well.
Well, I'm still serving up to this day. And it honestly is hard. It takes a mental toll on me all the time, especially because I do like the 8 hour shifts that like span until I usually clock out at like 3 o'clock in the
That's
morning on the
insane. That's
weekends and then like
insane.
1 a.m. on the weekdays. And I'll usually be at school the next day on the weekdays. So it does take an incredible mental load on me. But I think just being disciplined in like your calendar and what you have to do is vital and what makes you successful or not when it comes to balancing school, work, and clubs.
Mhm. And how
Yeah.
many shifts per week were you working, can I ask?
I work for.
Yeah, so that's Monday to Friday, or did it change weekends, sometimes not?
It's always Friday and Saturday, and then it'll be two weekdays depending on which days I don't have courses.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was about balance, keeping a calendar, you said.
Hmm.
And how did you prioritize what was most important to you?
The way that I do it is I always put in like the skeleton of my schedule throughout the week. So I'll put in things that I know I have to do. So, like my work schedule, any meetings that I have for the week, or any other commitments that I've made. And then I always have a separate to do list on the side. And then I take my to do list and insert it in places that I know I will be able to get those tasks done. One thing also is I also triage my tasks. I think that's super important.
And what does
Um,
triaging mean?
Triage means you have an immediate category, like a somewhat immediate category, and then things that you don't have to do necessarily right away. So like the top of my list would be my most immediate task. So like sending this time sensitive email or submitting this assignment that's due tonight, blah, blah, blah. And then my second tier would be like ongoing tasks that I have to do. And then my bottom tier part of the triage would be things that are things that I'd like to get done, but don't necessarily have a deadline.
Right, it's like a urgency, like kind of thing.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I don't,
Hmm.
I, the word urgency like was not popping up, but like it's similar to like medical triage where you have red, yellow, and green.
You were also involved in a lot of extracurriculars, so
Hmm.
you can talk about that, your clubs, your positions, and how you balance that as well.
I got involved in student politics like as soon as I could. I held my first position in the second year or the second semester of my first year, and that was lower division representative for the political science student
That
union.
was your first ever
First
thing.
ever
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
It was so cute. Oh my gosh, now thinking about it. I like made like a cute little platform and everything and posted it on my Instagram and was like, vote for me,
Wait, you did like
guys.
a day in a life as well with that as well, right?
Yeah, I
I remember
did.
watching that so many times. Whenever I felt unmotivated, I would go to that highlight and I would just be like, "Girl, shut up. Let's do your work." Because like, look at your admin. Like,
That was like,
amazing.
yeah, first ever position. And then from lower div rep in the PSSU, I got into like Canva, like social media. I loved
Mhm.
marketing, and we
Oh
didn't
yeah.
have like a an official marketing role in our constitution for the PSSU. So we did like constitutional amendments to include a marketing department alongside an external and events department. And then I became the first ever vice president of marketing for the PSSU, which is very exciting.
That's
And
awesome.
at the time, I was super duper proud of being the first ever.
As you should.
And then, yeah, I worked in the capacity of VP marketing for about a year. And then I got elected in as co president. And then, yeah, I've been working as co president for 2 years now with the PSSU. And I only have 3 days of my presidency until I step down and finally pass on the torch to two other incredible students in poli-sci. So it's bittersweet right now. I've also worked in the pre-law society. Started off as the marketing coordinator, and I worked under a great vice president of marketing. And I think it was about a year-ish after working in the capacity of marketing coordinator that I moved up to VP marketing because the incumbent stepped down from pre-law. And then I worked as VP marketing for, I want to say, a couple of months, and then I stepped down from VP marketing just to focus on the last term of my presidency for the PSSU and focus on um, everything else that I had going on. Yeah.
And what was the time commitment there for those positions?
Oof. For pre-law, it was 30 minutes to an hour a week in terms of meetings. And then when it comes to graphic design and content creation, it can honestly span depending on how much they need done. And in the role of like marketing, it was very like, you don't get, how do I say this? You never know what's going to be on your plate until like events are like finalized and like discussed and all. So yeah, the time commitment for pre-law honestly fluctuated. When it came to poli-sci, PSSU, it was an hour to an hour and a half worth of meetings a week, and then a lot of admin work throughout the week, especially in the um, co-president position. My current co-president and I sometimes we like stay up until like 2 in the morning finalizing things, like the background admin work. And then I also briefly worked for Amnesty International, which is a club that advocates for human rights on an international scale and making sure that eyes are on human rights violation. And the time commitment for that was roughly like an hour-ish of meetings per week, and then any like other tasks that you had. But Amnesty International, when I was in it, was like just starting up again. So it wasn't incredibly busy as compared to the other two executive roles I had. Yeah. Sorry, that was like really long for whatever
No,
reason.
that just shows how like committed and how dedicated she is. The balance is insane. Like I look
Thank
up to it
you.
so much. And I also admire that you started so fast. Like second semester, first year, you were already on it. And
Mhm.
it gave you time to build up your networks and your positions, and you are now basically done presidency and moving on to bigger, better things. And
Mhm.
yeah, for anyone who wants to get into those clubs, what would you tell them?
Is to never think that you're not good enough for a role. I think that is so important. Imposter syndrome is a pandemic, like amongst young people, especially now where we have, platforms like LinkedIn that everyone's so glued to LinkedIn and like seeing how many connections you can get by just like a simple click of the button. Um, I think my biggest piece of advice is to never think that you're not good enough for a role and to always put yourself out there, apply yourself. And yeah, like I honestly did not think I could get elected into lower division rep. I remember there was one other student who was going against me, and I didn't think I was going to get it, but I just made sure that I applied myself. I networked with people, not online, but in person, spoke to them, introduced myself, tell them what I was about. I think that is incredibly important. And if things unfortunately don't go your way, never, never, never let that hinder your growth and your motivation to move forward. Um, because no one's success in life is going to be like going to look like an exponential curve, you know what I mean? Like you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have things that don't go your way. One thing that I always keep in mind is that there is always going to be people better than you. There's always going to be someone who has a better resume, who has more experience, who has a higher GPA. But as long as you do the best that you can to make sure that you present yourself well, you apply yourself well, you network yourself well, there's really nothing to be upset about. I think that's very important. I don't think that was the most like eloquently said piece of
Oh, that was
advice, but
great. Yeah, just don't compare yourself, basically. Yeah.
exactly.
And you have to start somewhere, right?
You always
Yeah.
have to start somewhere.
Yeah. Even for me, like I did my CCS thing, a lot of that was fueled by your passion in your clubs.
Can we talk about that?
Oh,
Like you're
a little bit of me, sure. Yeah, if you guys don't know, I had like a podcast with my club SFU CCS, and a big reason why I wanted to be part of that club was because of my ate. I always see
Oh,
her being so involved, and it just inspired me to put myself out there. And like this podcast was because of CCS, and it just goes back to me looking up to my ate. And
that's
yeah,
really sweet.
I remember I
I didn't
applied.
know I had that impact
No,
on
you girl,
people.
every day. I always think about her. Like her, I see this up. I've said this so much in the podcast, but like, it's insane. Like how much I look up to you.
Oh.
Yeah, I was marketing coordinator first year because I know you did a little bit of marketing, and so I
Mm-hmm.
get it. Like the whole Canva thing, the whole like ambiguity of it all. It's insane.
You literally never know what you have to do.
No,
Like you'll hear
exactly.
it in a meeting and be like, "Oh, like Sophie, Louisa, can you guys like make this graphic and have
Oh,
this out
girl.
during this time?" I'm like,
Oh my
"Oh my
god.
god,
Yeah.
not like my study session." No.
Mm-hmm. I will say it is therapeutic making Canvas, like making
Honestly, yeah.
graphics.
Especially if
Sometimes you
you're
need it. Yeah.
if you're like a creative person, it's honestly a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's also a good balance, I think. Just,
Mm-hmm.
doing all your academics, then having to make a graphic on the side.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fun.
yeah, um, that's a little debrief of my CCS, little plug right there. Um, and as of right now, you're still in both pre-law and PSSU.
No, I am starting May 1st. I will no longer hold any executive positions. I just feel like I've done everything that I was meant to do in all roles, and I think it was time to pass on the torch to other great executives. I didn't really want to hog any positions either. I feel like I did my time, I did what I had to do, made my impact, and I know there is a whole plethora of other students who also have the same ambition, who also want to be able to be in these roles and have a lot of great things to offer. I say this as I watch my new co-presidents for the PSSU step into their roles. Shout out to Lisa and Aiden.
Lisa and
They
Aiden.
are going to do amazing as
Mhm.
co-presidents, and I'm super, super excited for them. But yeah, I won't be in any clubs, just to focus on my personal life and my future career, make some heavier
Oh
moves.
yeah.
I'm gonna be a little secretive, but like, yeah, I'm just gonna focus on all of that
Mhm.
the next year or so. So yeah, no executive positions
Mhm.
anymore.
I think as well, like you've left a really good mark. I think also your resume must look amazing. So I think that's pretty good itself. So yeah, that was a bit about your extracurriculars, your clubs, involvements, and I guess do you want to talk about your co-op experience? Because you did mention to me briefly that you had like an 8 month thing going
hmm
on. So
I did co-op for 8 months. I secured a role with the BC government, specifically in public service. I don't know if I can talk very much about it because
all
it
good.
is government.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a lot of statutory interpretation, taking facts of actual cases and applying them to the legislation that I was working very closely with. And then it was a lot of writing as well, negotiation skills that actually became very, very useful skills in preparing my skill set for NATO field school because NATO is also a lot of negotiation. And yeah, it was a great experience overall. Was the job something that I would want to do full time as a career? Not really. But I think you should never be ungrateful for any opportunities and experiences you get to have because every job that you do, it doesn't matter if it's serving, retail, like trade work, admin work, every single job that you do will contribute to your skill set, and that's always something you should be grateful for. So yeah, the job ultimately was not for me. I did not enjoy it a whole lot, but I am very grateful for the higher ups that I met and the people that I worked with and all the skills that I learned because it genuinely did make me a more professional person and a more attractive candidate for the future jobs that I want to pursue.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you also took on that role. I think no matter what co-op experience, I think it's very valuable. No matter what,
Mm-hmm.
it builds character, and again, goes on your resume at the end of the day too. So,
Exactly.
yeah. And a bit about the application for co-op. What would you say was your biggest tip for like upcoming co-ops?
Ooh, is to not do things last minute. Oh my gosh, because especially with like government roles or a lot of like government agency roles, you will have to write a cover letter. And I am the biggest advocate against ChatGPT.
Oh yeah.
Please do not use ChatGPT
Coming from
for
a poli-sci student, this is serious news,
this
guys.
is
Yeah.
serious, guys. Please do not use ChatGPT for your cover letters. I think it's super obvious when you do. And the cover letter is all about you and your experience, and that should be probably one of the easiest things to write about. So, yeah, take your time with your cover letters. Take your time to make sure your resume is well written. Make sure you're using star statements when you write your resume. Go do actually do the co-op course that they make you do on Canva.
Yeah, I heard that's a thing.
Yeah, and make sure that you actually take away um, tips and tricks from it because they are honestly very valuable and useful. I got offers from all the co op positions that I applied for. Um, and I think actually taking the time and doing the work did attribute to that success. Yeah.
And I know you touched upon ChatGPT like a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
would say like a little question there.
Yeah.
As a poli sci student, that involves a lot of writing, a lot of reading.
Yeah.
How has ChatGPT like have you ever used it for anything, or how do you apply it in like a good way if you use it?
I think the most ethical way to use ChatGPT is to make quizzes for yourself because my biggest study tip is active recall. Because if you can recall something from the back of your brain, best believe you know that. Or if you can explain it to someone else, you know what you're studying.
Yeah, I always say if you can't teach it, you don't know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the best way to use ChatGPT, especially being a poli-sci major or like any social science major, is to just ask it to make you study questions or practice quizzes. I recently just finished BPK 110. I like used that to like ask questions about the material I was studying. If you don't know like what a sentence means or if like
Oh, for sure.
the language is really dense, I've done it before where I would just like copy and paste like a sentence and be like, "Can you explain this to me like I'm 5
Oh
or
yeah.
something?"
Explain like I'm five. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I truly believe that you should be doing your own readings, you should be engaging with the materials that you are learning by yourself. I think that is so important. You don't want to lose your skill set. I don't want like the future generation of academics to genuinely not have any
Yeah,
like
like
reading comprehension
future
skills.
lawyers using ChatGPT, you
Exactly.
know? So, yeah.
So like if you don't understand a concept, if you don't understand a sentence or a blurb of text, like yeah, ask ChatGPT to explain it to you like you're 5. But I know a lot of people use it for ideas as well. but as long as you can add sustenance to the ideas in your own words, um, and through your own work, that should be okay. I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah. Just using it as a tool.
Yeah, use it
Yeah,
as a tool. Don't rely on ChatGPT to do your work because ultimately it's more of a loss for you
exactly.
if you rely on ChatGPT, and I stand by that.
It came out. ChatGPT came out during my first year
Oh
of
my
uni.
gosh.
Yeah. And honestly, I did not use it. I didn't even touch it because like just using AI kind of made me feel gross.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like using it as a tool was just the best way. And also like if you're using AI to do all your work, it's like you said, it's a loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like why even study at all if in uni if you're gonna just use ChatGPT in the first place as
Mm-hmm.
well?
Exactly. And I
Um,
come from a place where I pay for my tuition myself from
yeah.
these serving jobs, guys.
Oh yeah.
So if you ever
Yep.
want to not have student loans, I would totally suggest serving. I did bottle service very briefly as well, which
Hmm.
is I wouldn't recommend that though.
Bottle service, like
Yeah.
the drop off stuff.
No, in the clubs though, where those
Oh.
girls that hold the big
Oh,
signs and
okay.
yeah, I
Period.
did that for a little bit, but it was not my thing.
It just made the ends meet at the end of the
They
day.
made the ends meet,
Yeah.
and luckily no student loans if that
There we
makes an
go.
impact on people. But
Yeah.
yeah, my biggest thing was also I'm paying for this education, and I'm using my time, my resources to do all these courses, and if I'm not going to gain any valuable lessons or experiences or knowledge from it, what's the point?
Exactly.
Why be in school at all?
Yeah. Like I would feel more proud like walking the stage knowing I used my own work
Mm-hmm.
than just, using ChatGPT my entire uni career. So,
No, definitely. I'm
yeah.
not saying AI is not helpful at all. There's
Oh yeah.
definitely ways to ethically use it, and it can make studying a lot easier, but make sure that you are still gaining reading comprehension skills, critical thinking skills, and all of that.
Yeah, thanks for talking about ChatGPT with me for a bit there. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
a very important topic, especially like as a poli-sci person.
That was a great subtopic. We
No,
didn't
I
plan
loved it.
that.
I loved it. No, I love this. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about extracurriculars, managing stuff. I want to talk to you a bit about academic validation. I
Oh,
think that's a big
yes.
topic. I'll say for me, I think it's a big part of my life because um, just growing up, I always compared myself to people, and just grades was a big deal. Even like now, it's hard to not pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in uni it's different because everyone's on their own path.
Yeah.
But I think it's been a big struggle for me personally, so I want to hear what your viewpoints on it are. Because I know you also get good grades, so let's hear about it.
Academic validation has always been a thing for me. I don't know. I think it's very prominent in Filipino families, especially. I come from a weird place though, where I didn't really have the parents who were very anal about the type of grades I got. My mom and dad never told me oh, you need to get straight A's, blah blah blah. Surprisingly, my parents were not, I wouldn't say lenient, but they trusted that their kids would do their best. I remember when I was discerning what I wanted to do in university, my dad never told me, oh, you had to do this, oh, you had to do that, blah blah blah. And I remember I brought up nursing to my dad once, and he actually discouraged me from doing nursing because he was like, that's not what you want to do at
He
all.
just knows.
He knows his kid. But yeah, it's hard when you have other people in your family, your aunts and uncles who do like to boast about their
The
children,
Filipino aunts, Filipino
Filipino
uncles.
aunts, especially on Facebook.
Oh,
And not to say that my mom doesn't ever do that. She does do that. Just, yeah, but I don't know. For me, I feel like the need for academic validation just came from oh, I don't even know where it came from. It just came from seeing other people in our family being successful and me wanting to just do the same thing. And it got to a point where when I was in high school, I was determined to get on gold honor roll every single year. I always had to get one best in blank, whatever subject award, and I did do that. And I always tried to get myself into top three. And I think I was averaging 97 average all throughout high school. I got a top three medal. Ellen over here actually graduated with the highest class
Shout out
average.
Ellen.
Woo! Grade 12. Yeah.
That was Ellen, by the way.
Yeah. But when it came to uni, like it shifted because when you're in high school, you're in like a lot smaller of like a population, so it's like easier to.
Compare yourself to people.
Yeah, exactly. But when you're in university, like everyone's struggling. Everyone also was the smartest person in their high school as well. So yeah, a lot of my academic validation like didn't really affect me a whole lot in university. And I think academic validation is actually a lot more prominent in high school because you need those grades to get into university.
Right.
You know what I mean? But once you get into university, like the need for academic validation is a lot less because in university it's not just about grades that matter, it's about your skill set, it's about your experience, your work experience, what you do on campus, if you're active in your community. So I think academic validation doesn't impact students a whole lot as much as high school. I don't know, maybe that's just my experience because I'm okay with not having a 4.3 GPA. But I'm very glad that I have like the diverse um, work experience that I have, like having worked in both government and even like good jobs that aren't quote unquote as prestige, like surveying and like bottle service and stuff. Like, I'm very grateful that I have good grades. Maybe not the most beautiful grades like a 4.3, but I have good grades and a very diverse skill set and work experience. So,
Yeah, it's so important to be well-rounded. I
mm-hmm.
think in high school, another thing is a lot of even like senior grades, they really focus on getting those book smart, like
Yeah.
straight A's, but they always neglect the extracurriculars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, this might be a very controversial take, but in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you can be as smart as you want. You can have a 4.3 GPA, you can get 100% on everything. But if you don't have any, like, one, life skills, or two, any work experience, you're not as smart as you think you are.
exactly. Yeah.
And I stand by that because when I see students who strictly just focus on grades and don't try to, like, enter in their community and be active, or they don't try to get a job, while I think having a job in university is so important, like so important, because one, you get to practice time management a lot better, and two, smartness goes beyond books. And I think that is something, unfortunately, a couple of university kids don't quite fully understand. Yeah, if I were to ever talk to someone who's entering university or first year, I would strongly advise them to get a part-time job. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but get a job, guys.
Yeah. It just builds so much character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it teaches you so many important things because uni is not just about grades, it's about your character, what you're
Exactly.
doing. And personally, for me, like in high school, I was in drama. I think drama shaped me so much. It
Mm-hmm.
changed my life.
I also did
Theater
drama.
kid.
I was a
Exactly. You
theater.
get it. You get it. It did reflect in my grades as well. It kind of pushed me to do even better because of the balance that I was able to maintain. Even like doing my club with my academics, it just boosts your confidence and boosts so much more than you can ever imagine. It's very
I think it's a
important.
lot more important to be proud about how well-rounded you are than a number on your transcript, because your GPA can change any day. You can get one bad grade and it'll plummet, but no one's going to be able to take away the experience that you gain from different opportunities and other jobs and other clubs that you join. So that's also
Yeah.
very important.
My next point here was advice. We talked about a lot of advice throughout this, but I guess just general advice for upcoming poli-sci students and those who are maybe in the same grade level as you. Um, yeah, just advice in general.
Well, first, I want to say that surprisingly, this year or this incoming fall, we have a very high influx of political science students joining SFU. Right now in FAS, so the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, we, like population wise, we're the third largest program, which is insane because Who would have thought? Who would have thought that political science would be that big of a program here at SFU? I think this piece of advice applies to everyone, no matter what year you are in university, but apply yourself. Make sure that, honestly, this is the overarching like theme of advice. This entire podcast is to apply yourself, put yourself out there, never think you're not good enough for a role. Meet like-minded people, but also meet people who don't think the same as you, because yeah, you can like never stick yourself to one perspective. I think it's so important to also have different perspectives as well, just to understand a wider range of people.
I think that same concept applies really well for poli-sci because in that field, so many opposing opinions are everywhere. So
Yeah, and that's where I extracted that piece of advice from, because you're never gonna find you're never gonna oh, this is what you're gonna realize in university. Not everyone thinks the same as you, and not everyone is gonna agree with your opinion. And I think it's so important to know how to have discussions with people that you disagree with. And I say this, my boyfriend and I actually disagree a whole lot about a couple of things, whether that be, I don't know, sometimes random opinions on like pop culture, or like even when it comes to politics, because we come from two very different like socioeconomic backgrounds. What I'm trying to get at here is learn how to get along with people who are different than yourself, because not everyone in this world is like you. And I think having or understanding different perspectives, not necessarily holding every single perspective or opinion that comes across your way, but I think understanding differences is really important. It makes you a more well rounded person as well. Yeah, my advice would just be to apply yourself. Like, please don't just stick to the books. Like, do something that will add to your experience, do something that'll make your academic, social, and like work experience in the next 4 years something very valuable.
I guess for more course stuff, I know your field of study is very writing based, reading based,
Mm-hmm.
discussion, debates. So for anyone who is thinking of being in your major
Mm-hmm.
and is maybe a bit on the shyer side or maybe isn't really interested in reading but wants to be a lawyer or anything, what would you tell them?
Participation is so important. I feel like a lot of times participation can either like get you, it can either like make or break an A. That's what I always say to people. And you don't have to be right. You don't have to know everything to say something. Like, you don't have to have an opinion you that like can't be debated or anything. There's always room for debate. There's always room for like discord when it comes to participation, but just showing that you are, one, doing your readings, two, an active listener, and three, are genuinely interested in the coursework that you are doing. I think that's a lot more valuable than sharing an opinion that is super fleshed out and cannot be debated. That's my piece of advice when it comes to at least a participation portion of doing a poli-sci course. And when it comes to your readings, it's okay if you don't understand everything. It's
Very dense papers that you have to read.
exactly, yeah. It's okay if you don't understand everything, but as long as you make the effort to read it and at least, I don't know, guys, know the thesis of the paper that you're reading, I think that's great, because, like, lectures, seminars will discuss readings to deepen and strengthen your knowledge of what you just read in the last week. Also, just please do your readings. Like, overall, like, trust me, it will nip you in the butt around final season if you don't do your readings or you don't do your practice questions, whatever it may be. When it comes to picking how many courses you take, don't be pressured to do as many courses as other people for the sake of feeling like you aren't as capable, because at the end of the day, this is your degree, and honestly, you get to choose how long you take or how short you may take your credentials. And at the end of the day, when it comes to your success in your degree, that is fully determined by you. So make sure that you're doing courses that, one, you enjoy, and two, take a digestible amount of courses. Don't take 4 or 5 courses just because, like, like Sarah in your Paul 100 class is taking 5 courses and she thinks she's top shit because she can take 5 courses and you can only take 3. It's not like that. Do what you can do to do your best. And a lot of people have different commitments in their life. Sometimes people have like hard experiences at home and they can't really focus on 5 or 4 courses. And maybe you have to work a job because your parents can't pay for school or you have to pay rent. And maybe you have like other like commitments that restrict you from taking 4 and 5 courses. Just because you take less than the person beside you does not mean you are a worse student.
That person beside you could live on campus and they have the flexibility to take as much as they want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just never know. Like personally for me, I take 3. I've been taking 3 like every single semester and it's just worked out the best for me and I'm doing great. I love what I'm studying. I love the workload. I think yeah, everyone's different. So and then like public speaking wise, it's a big part of your program too, I bet, right?
I was a horrible public speaker coming into university, and I actually still think I'm not the most eloquently spoken person. Like, I do like stutter a whole lot, and English is not my first language either. So when it comes to like formulating sentences, sometimes it's hard to get grammar 100% right all the time. When it comes to public speaking, I don't know. I'm also like not the best public speaker to
I
this
think you did
day.
awesome in this podcast though. Like,
Really? Thank
yes,
you.
you're on
I like
fire, yeah.
did notice a couple of times my grammar was a little off in
You're
certain
good.
sentences.
You're good. Same. Okay, me too.
um, I don't know. When it comes to public speaking, I think it ties in well with my advice about participation that you don't have to say the best opinion out of the entire class all the time. Like what you say doesn't necessarily have to be right all the time. And you don't have to be the most eloquently spoken person all the time. I think in my first and second year, I just forced myself to like speak up. If I don't force myself to put something out there or say something and just allow myself to just drown in like my anxiety of public speaking, I'm never going to work on the skill. It's never going to develop. I'm never going to get better. And my prof is never going to know what I'm thinking or give me participation points. So it's super hard, honestly. It's a mental barrier as well when you're anxious or you don't think you're the best at something, but just try to put yourself out there. You never know how great the return will be once you do it. Weirdly enough, when I study, I speak out loud. That's another thing.
I talk to myself all the time. It's kind of
Exactly.
concerning.
A little weird, but it gets the job done. And yeah, you do have to do a lot of presentations in poli-sci. Well, at least in the courses that I did. I kind of believe in practice makes perfect, not entirely, but practice will make you better. Yeah, not perfect, but it'll make you better.
And in tutorials, I bet you have to do a lot of talking, right?
Discussion is a huge thing. Yeah, that's all I really have on public speaking because I am honestly so scared of NATO field school because I feel like that's going to be a lot of public speaking as well. And I know the other people who got into the program are very smart people and probably have great public speaking skills. So,
I guess from here, it's a great transition to NATO school. We
oh
can talk
yeah,
about that. So if you guys didn't pick up earlier, she was able to get into NATO school, and I'll let you take the floor on this because I have no idea what I'm talking about here.
So yeah, in the next coming week and a half, I'll be studying under the NATO Field School and their simulation program. So I'll be traveling to Latvia, Estonia, Belgium, and Italy. Well, those are the 4 core countries that I'll be in. I believe we will be visiting other NATO countries on like day trips. But the NATO Field School will ultimately like provide me with the opportunity to observe professionals and experts in the working environment and be immersed in like the decisions of political, diplomatic, and military personnel. So this will include like visits across Europe, including the NATO headquarters, SHAPE, the European External Action Services, and NATO Strategic Communications Center of Excellence, and many, many more bodies under NATO. Um, And in this experience, I'll have the opportunity to develop my skills through negotiation and decision making simulations with mentorship from senior officials and diplomats. So, very daunting to hear all of that, that I'll be doing all of that. But I'm incredibly excited. And I've been wanting to do this for a while, but there were just a lot of other opportunities that I had to seize, and kind of took precedent over NATO Field School, like my co op program. But yeah, I'm so excited for this. And I'm actually very glad that I did my co op program before NATO Field School, because that job specifically helped me with like negotiation and decision making. Ultimately, that was what I was doing in that co op program. So it translates beautifully into this next step. I'll be so sad that I'll be away from my family though. Like that's so like, oh my god, 7 weeks is so long to me.
It is, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole summer, pretty much. Not the whole
Yeah.
summer, but like a big part of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But when I first heard the news, I was so excited. I was like, she deserves this so much.
Thank you.
Um, and how did you hear about this? And how did you apply? What was the process? If you can talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. A couple of my friends have done the NATO Field School. And for one of my friends specifically, I saw him come back from the field school an incredibly, not entirely new person, but a well more developed person in poli-sci. A very, he just came back so much more well rounded, so intelligent. Not saying that he was not intelligent before then, but he was, he came back very impressive. And I wanted to do the same thing for me. I wanted to work on my professional skills, um, my knowledge, and use the skills that I used while working in the government, on a different scale and a different platform for a different program. So that's how I learned about it. The application process was pretty standard, honestly. It was a lot of questions about your skill sets, especially when it comes to adaptability and your work ethic and why you want to pursue the program in general. Like, my one thing is for anyone who's thinking about going to NATO Field School, this is not a trip. It's not a Europe trip to, like, you know, travel and do so many fun things. This is a program that is meant to develop the academic in you. So keep that in mind. And then the rest of the application process was resume, cover letter, references, and then an interview with the coordinator and the field school director, amongst other applicants. And then from there, you get a decision, or an offer, I should say. It is quite rigorous and competitive because eligibility ranges, or eligibility is granted to any university student who attends an institution in a NATO member country or member state. And then obviously there are GPA requirements, and credit requirements, but when you think about it, that's a lot of people who can apply to this program.
And how many applicants, if you know this, how many applicants were accepted?
I don't know if I can say how many people applied, but I think I can say that there's about 38-ish
Wow.
of us.
Very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's really incredible. I want to ask, like, what is
Yeah.
your family's reaction to your acceptance?
I hope they were happy about it. Like, I don't know, like no one, at least in my immediate family, or my mom's side of the family, has traveled abroad for any university schooling. I know, like, our Kuya Tofi and our Kuya Troy
Mm.
has, like,
Yeah.
they've done the whole traveling abroad stuff for school and all. Um, but yeah, at least like from my mom's side of the family, they're very proud about it, especially because no one in my family has traveled to Europe before.
There you
Yeah, my mom can't travel outside of Canada because she's still PR and not
Mm-hmm.
Canadian citizen.
Yeah.
And I've never been to Europe either. So yeah, my dad's very proud, especially given how much he loves politics and
I'm very
all.
happy for you guys there.
Hmm. Um, so yeah, and my partner, my boyfriend, shout out Jared, hello, if you're listening to this. He honestly is the proudest boyfriend ever, and I'm so happy. He threw me a going away party.
I
Ellen and Jared
know.
actually threw me a going away party
That is so
like
cute.
not too long ago,
How did
and
that go?
it was really fun, honestly. Like, okay, switching gears to a more like less formal note, I was so drunk by like
As you
10
should.
p.m.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember anything. We were at one place, so where the party was being held, and then I blacked out for like, I don't know, like maybe 2 hours, and I
Period.
woke up in a country bar. Like, I didn't
What?
like wake up from like sleep, but like I regained consciousness, and I was in a country bar, and I was like, oh my god! And funny enough, that country bar was my old workplace. And I
Oh,
was
there
like,
you go.
but yeah, I guess that's all I have.
That's so cool. I wanted to say I'm just so proud. I'm so happy. I'm like cheering you on. And I'm very happy for your family. I bet they're so proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
we're so sad to see you go, but I know it's for the better. And you're going to come back, just like your friend did, as a
Mm-hmm.
much more well rounded poli-sci baddie. And you're going to be so
Mm-hmm.
cool. And you're going to have so much more like employment opportunities and just I cannot wait to see your growth and everything if you're going to post a lot out there and I'm just so excited and there are many I guess for people that want to see I guess your posts and your contribution to your clubs you are in the PSSU Instagram page and the
Mm-hmm.
pre-law or where can people find you I guess if you want to see more.
If you want to see the work that I've been doing, you can follow the Political Science Student Union's Instagram page at I believe it's sfu.pssu. Oh my gosh, I'm
Something like that,
blanking.
PSSU something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PSSU, and then you can also find the SFU pre-law um, page as well on Instagram. They always post opportunities for pre-law students, like law firm visits, career panels, etc., or LSAT deals, like discounts on LSAT study materials. Amnesty International is starting up again. I believe they have applications. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but I believe they're hiring for executive positions. And then you can find me at Luisa V. David
There you
on
go. There,
Instagram.
definitely check her out. And my favorite thing she's ever been on was the Day in a Life.
Oh,
So
yes.
check out the I think it was the PSSU highlights. It's like Day in a Life of, and check
Mhm.
her Day in a Life. It's crazy. I love it so much, and it motivates me every day. So
Thank
yeah, I want to
you.
say thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to all the listeners who had to hear me ramble and like all my spread out ideas. It's my first ever podcast as well. So this was a daunting experience, but I'm very glad that you invited me on here. And I'm very proud of my not so baby cousin anymore for doing this. Like having passions and actually doing them is so
Inspired by you,
important.
inspired by her,
Thank
100%.
you.
And I guess this was also kind of like a really sweet goodbye gift. Just for me to spend some time with you before you go and just talk
Mhm.
about your journey here because you really, really inspire me. So, and I bet you inspire all our other cousins as well. So,
Thank
yeah, thank you
you.
so much for being here. And we're wrapping it up. And I don't know what my next episode will be, but stay tuned for that. And yeah, any final words?
Um, Good luck to anyone who is starting university this coming fall. And good luck to just all the university students in general. Like, university is hard, it's not incredibly easy, but just make sure you're making the most out of your time here. And I guarantee you, it'll be something you will definitely look back at and be proud of when we're 70, 80, 90,
Retired. We're done.
retired on the beach
Hmm.
in Miami
Exactly.
sipping on a drink.
Exactly. Yeah, it is summertime approaching, so and I know people are starting to get accepted into unis, so just good luck to everyone. And funny enough, today is election day, so it's just
Mm-hmm.
very fitting to have you on here. But yeah, thank you again for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks, Sophie.
Bye.
Bye, guys.